Hi people, hi you, hi me, hi everybody. Alright, so the time is 11:03 p.m. Nigerian time and it is the 1st of July. Happy new month, happy have the rest of the year. I wish you the very, very, very best. Alright, so why I'm here is because I want to do some sort of Bible study reaction. It's gonna be like a series. Yeah. So the thing is this. So I've been studying, no, it's not really personal. I've been using a devotional and we've been let me show you the devotional. This is the devotional. Yeah. Oh right. Trying to use the light. I'll show you. Nyaka. Okay, they ain't really sure. Anyway, so the devotional. This is the devotional. Nyaka. I hope you can see it. This is a Scripture Union Nigerian devotional. This is not a sponsored post. They are not paying me to do anything. But this year I wanted to study my Bible in Igbo, so I used that guide as the devotional, and then I've been using my Igbo Bible. So part of what we've studied for the most part this year has been Genesis and Abraham, like the story of the family of Abraham, like Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, caught my attention. Like we are currently still reading about Jacob in the house of Laban, and well, I'm sure that by the time I'm done with the series, like would have passed there, and I'll have a lot of gist. So pretty much what I want to do is to be reading the Bible and be reacting to it. The reason I'll do like that is because I had thought about just coming up to say plenty things that had occurred to me, like things that caught my attention, that caught my heart. But I realized that there is quite a lot. Like the more I think, okay, should I talk about this? I'll be like, I also like this. I also found, find, found this interesting. So I decided I'm gonna do that. So yeah, this channel is about sharing what I'm up to. So pretty much, I think this is what for me. This has been like my highlights, and it's interesting because it seems like in church, like for some, I don't call it coincidence. It's just been happening that we, there's been mention of Abraham, the covenant of Abraham, the blessing of Jacob, and all of that. But guess who my favorite character, my favorite person so far has been? It's been Isaac. Like for me, it's been interesting. No, we'll get there. We'll get there. No rush, no rush. We'll get there. Calm down, Debbie. We'll get there. Don't rush. Don't run faster than your shadow. But Isaac has. I feel like, where have you been? Like has been my reaction to Isaac recently. So thankfully, this is not the first time I'm reading about this people. This is not the first time I'm reading my Bible. Like I've read about them severally. I've right from even before I became like born again, I started studying God's word for myself. I've heard about like Abraham, the popular father Abraham songs. Like I mean, I grew up in a Christian home, so I know about the Bible stories and everything. But Isaac, like I feel like I've been skipping, like I feel like I have been sleeping on Isaac, and God just mercifully showed me Isaac this season. I'm like, receive Isaac in the name of Jesus. Not like receive, well, I receive Isaac in the name of Jesus, because thing about it is that Isaac was no had no drama. At least he didn't have any drama. Did Isaac have any drama? The only drama that we know about Isaac or his family is when it's Esau and Jacob. Like beside Esau and Jacob, and then when Rebecca tried to help Jacob to swindle Esau and get the blessing. We don't know about any drama, like any major drama about Isaac. Of course, when the people tried to take his will and like they did to his father, and when he told Abimelech that Rebecca was his sister, like his father did. But like no major. Think about Abraham's life. Think about Jacob is the king of drama. Like think about their lives, and then think about Isaac. But Isaac is the son of promise. Like, anyway, let me not jump as we go there. Hopefully, God, you will keep my thoughts together so that I will not jump. So I'm just going to go right to reading. I'm going to be reading from my phone. I'll read from King James. Yes, I was trying to shorten this video, try to make it 10 minutes. So if you get to 10 minutes, I'll cut it and do a part two so that people don't so that you don't listen to one video for a long time. So my favorite translation so far has been King James. Like, when did I fall in love with King James? I think I fell in love with King James as early as it was 2017 that I loved King James. I don't know why the phone flash. I keep flashing it inside. Sorry about that. So that was when I started loving King James. Like, I was like, my goodness, I love King James so very much. And it makes sense because, well, I mean, King James, I'm a historical person, I'm a cultural person. So King James, it has a little bit of English history in it. So it helps me to imagine how, I don't want to say wondrous, but it helps me to like imagine like why was this words like coined this way in such manner, like what history was behind it. Sometimes I look it up on the web, sometimes I don't. So but generally enjoy King James. So yeah, that's what I'll be reading with. This video is running into 7 minutes. I have not even started. So maybe this first one before 15 minutes. So please stay to the end. It's gonna be interesting. I'll continue. All right, so I'm going to be reading from Genesis 12, and as I'm reading, I'll react. I'll skip some when I feel like, okay, I don't really want to react to this. I'll just skip. Maybe you just hear me say something like, blah, 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 blah. Okay, let's just continue. So, why am I even teaching people this Bible study? Like, it's a gift, it's a calling. So, I'm like, okay, let me share. Let me share. Just, I feel inspired to share, so why not? All right, so Genesis 12, KJV, let's start reading. Now the Lord had said unto Abram, get thee out of thy country and from thy kindred and from thy father's house unto a land that I will show thee, and I will make of thee a great nation, and I will bless thee and make thy name great, and thou shalt be a blessing. And I will bless them that bless thee, and curse him that curseth thee, and in thee shall all families of the earth be blessed. So Abram departed as the Lord had spoken unto him, and Lot went with him. And Abraham was 70 and 5 years old when he departed out of Haran. And Abraham took Sarah his wife, and Lot his brother's son, and all their substance that they had gathered, and the souls that they had gotten in Haran. And they went forth to go into the land of Canaan, and into the land of Canaan they came. So let me try to take it back to chapter 11 to see what was going on before I react. So chapter 11, I'm not going to start from verse 1 because verse 1 is like the Tower of Babel. Go read it up for yourself. So I just want to come way down to when they started talking about Abraham's descendants. So before we got there from about verse 10, they started talking about the ancestors of Abraham. So let's read from Genesis 11 verse 10. Then these are the generations of Shem. Shem is the son of Noah, right? So Noah had three sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. So I think Japheth was the one that laughed at his father's nakedness or something. So Shem was his first son. Anyway, this is the generation of Shem. Remember that God had destroyed the earth and then restarted it again with Noah. So this is the generation of Shem, like Noah's first son. And something about the Bible, like genealogies are continued pretty much like from the first son or from the chosen son, depending. So these are the generations of Shem. Let me not talk too much because it's not Shem that I really want to talk about. It's Abraham. So Shem was 100 years old and begat Arphaxad 2 years after the flood. And Shem lived after he begat Arphaxad 500 years and begat sons and daughters. And Arphaxad lived 530 years and begat Selah. And Arphaxad lived after he begat Selah 403 years and begat sons and daughters. And Salah lived 30 years and begat Eber. And Salah lived after he begat Eber 403 years and begat sons and daughters. And Eber lived 430 years and begat Peleg. And Eber lived after he had begat Peleg 430 years and begat sons and daughters. And Peleg lived 30 years and begat Reu. And Peleg lived after he had begat Reu 209 years and begat sons and daughters. And Reu lived 230 years and begat Serug. And Reu lived after he begat Serug 207 years and begat sons and daughters. And Serug lived 30 years and begat Nahor. And Sarah lived after he begat Nahor 200 years and begat sons and daughters. And Nahor lived 920 and Nahor lived 920 years and begat Terah. And Nahor lived after he begat Terah 119 years and begat sons and daughters. And Terah lived 70 years and begat Abram. You guys getting the gist now? And Terah lived 70, like the ancestors before him have been living, like they've been having their first children at like 30, some 20s, and he lived 70 years and begat Abram. First thing to note. All right, so let's continue. Just note it somewhere. And Terah lived 70 years and begat Abram, Nahor, and Haran. Now these are the generations of Terah. Terah begat Abram, Nahor, and Haran, and Haran begat Lot. And Haran died before his father Terah in the land of his nativity in Ur of the Chaldees. And Abram and Nahor took them wives. The name of Abram's wife was Sarai, and the name of Nahor's wife Milcah, the daughter of Haran, the father of Milcah, and the father of Iscah. But Sarai was barren, she had no child, and Terah took Abram his son, and Lot, the son of Haran, his son's son, and Sarai his daughter in law, his son Abram's wife, and they went forth with them from all of the Chaldees to go into the land of Canaan. Like, I need you to take note of this. So Terah took his son, his nephew, his grandson, his wife's, his son's wives, and left off Chaldees where they were born, where they lived, and to go into the land of Canaan. And they came unto Haran and dwelt there. So they were on the journey to Canaan and they stopped at Haran. Well, I've not really checked where Haran is, where Canaan is. All those are really like, I'm not too curious about that. That's not really what I'm up to. But let's just imagine you're going from one continent to another, and then you stop at maybe a continent in between two of them, and you're just there for whatsoever reason we are not told. And they came unto Haran and dwelt there, and the days of Terah were 205 years, and Terah died in Haran. So this is the backstory. The reason why I provided this backstory is because so that we can appreciate the call of God on Abraham. So let's return back to where we were before. So now the Lord has said to Abraham, get thee out of thy country and from thy kindred and from thy father's house unto a land that I will show thee. I'm reading what I was reading before so that I will now flow from there. And I will make of thee a great nation, and I will bless thee and make thy name great, and thou shalt be a blessing. Well, let me skip to to verse 5. Abraham's response. So, okay, verse 4. So Abraham departed as the Lord had spoken unto him, and Lot went with him. And Abraham was 70 and 5 years old when he departed out of Haran. And Abraham took Sarah his wife, and Lot his brother's son, and all their substance that they had gathered, and the souls that they had gotten in Haran, and they went forth to go into the land of Canaan, and into the land of Canaan they came. And Abraham passed through the land unto the place of Shechem, unto the plain of Moreh, and the Canaanite was then in the land. So Abraham took everything that was in Haran, like his father Terah had died, and God appeared and called him and said, "Yeah, leave and go to a place where I'll show you." And they went forth, and it was Canaan. This is amazing. Anyway, I think for me, let me try to react here. So I think for me at this point, it was important for I think it was important for Abraham to get to Canaan. So when they had gotten to Haran, they settled there, and Terah died. So it was easy for them to forget that it's Canaan we are really going to. So God came and called Abram. I keep calling him Abraham. At this point, he was still Abram. Bible scholars will understand why. When we get to when he changes to Abraham, we also understand why. So I think it was important that God had to call Abram and say, continue your journey. But the interesting thing for me is that God did not tell him we were going to Canaan. Is that not amazing? Say, come, let me take you to a place. I will show you. Abraham just carried his kayak and left. But something that was amazing is that before then, we've never been told about a relationship with between God and Abraham. We're just this is our first, like our first meeting. This is the first time we're meeting Abram with God, and so I'm just going to assume that, of course, he had been hearing God one way or the other for him to follow God when he appeared like that. So let me continue. This is not the major reactions, like major verses I want to react to. And Abraham passed through the land unto the place of Shechem. I'm reading verse 6 now. Unto the plain of Moreh, and the Canaanite was then in the land. And the Lord appeared unto Abraham and said, unto thy seed will I give this land. And there builded he an altar unto the Lord who appeared unto him. So for me, I'm like, God just chose Abram. I said, be coming with him. And as you go, he'll just say, I'll bless you. And I said, I'll give you this one. I'll do this one. Abraham did not ask you, God, though. All these things, sha. But okay, let's be going. The reason why I'm reacting like that is like, you're just putting this guy, like, I feel like, why are you raising the nigga's hope? Like, I mean, anyway. Oh, he's God, he can do what he wants. So, and the Lord appeared to unto Abraham and said unto him, thy seed will I give this land, that Shechem. And there builded he an altar unto the Lord who appeared unto him. Abraham is quite a good child of God. I mean, followed, built another, and he removed from thence unto a mountain on the east of Bethel and pitched his tent. Are you guys seeing what is happening? God is taking Abraham like a Thor. Like this is interesting. So he said, let's read verse 5. And Abraham took Sarai and Lot and everything they had, and they left Haran and went forth to go into the land of Canaan. And they went to the land of Canaan. And Abraham passed through the land unto the place of Shechem, unto the plain of Moreh. And the Canaanite was then the Lord. And the Lord appeared unto Abraham and said unto thy seed will. Like I was trying to say that God was pretty much taking Abraham on a tour. Like I'm looking at this and I'm seeing like God taking Abraham from Canaan to Moreh to Bethel, and now they are continuing towards the south. Verse 9. And Abraham journeyed going on still toward the south. Like, is this not like we might not pretty much appreciate it because it's like it's looking like Abraham is going on the physical like journey from country to country. But think about your life for a second. Like when God promises you something and it looks like he's taking you through a process, like you're going from like you know the promise. You've received it, you've built an altar of things around the promise in honor of the promise, right? But like you still have to go from one stage to the other. Like you've not gotten them, and God is still with you through it out. And as you're going through each stage, God is saying, I will give you this. This is for your generation. This and like what's this adventure really all about? Like that's my natural human reaction. But I see that Abraham trusts God so much and he doesn't seem as if he's complaining. He's okay, he's just going. What's life anyway? for an adventure, right? So he keeps going. And then we're in verse 10. And there was a famine in the land, and Abram went down into Egypt to sojourn there, for the famine was grievous in the land. And it came to pass, when he was come near to enter into Egypt, that he said unto Sarai his wife, Behold now, I know that thou art a fair woman to look upon. Therefore it shall come to pass, when the Egyptians shall see thee, that they shall say, This is his wife, and they will kill me, but they will save thee alive. Say, I pray thee, thou art my sister, that it may be well with me for thy sake, and my soul shall live because of thee. And it came to pass that when Abraham was coming to Egypt, the Egyptians beheld the woman that she was very fair, fair means pretty. The princes also of Pharaoh saw her and commended her before Pharaoh, and the woman was taken into Pharaoh's house. In those days, I don't understand how they used to do marriage and all of that kind of thing. I can't relate because you just see a woman and you say you like, what if she's a witch? Okay, let's continue. And he entreated Abram well for her sake, and he had sheep and oxen, and he asses and men servants and maid servants, and she asses and camels. And the Lord plagued Pharaoh and his house with great plagues because of Sarai, Abram's wife. And Pharaoh called Abram and said, What is this that thou hast done unto me? Why didst thou not tell me that she was thy wife? This will happen there. Abraham denied his wife. Like, that's summary of it. Like, in agreement with her, said, Babe, see, I'm going to say you're my sister. Agree with me. After all, you're my half sister. Like in those days, those early days, they used to marry their sisters. Like, a man could have more than one wife, and then they could intermarry. Well, that was the culture then. So Abraham said to her to say she's my sister. And Sarah, for some interesting reason that we're going to come forward to, agreed. Like, I can't place that to Sarah's personality. Sarah is somewhat confrontational. So that's my perception of her personality. So I'm wondering how. I'm wondering why Sarah easily agreed to that plan, though. But we move. So what is interesting for me here is that God, the way God fought Abraham's battle, like, I mean, this is somebody that is on a journey with God, and then he tries to look out for himself, even though he's not, he didn't go about it the best way. But and the king of Egypt was innocent because based on the laws of the land now, that they can carry any woman that is nobody's husband pretty much. But God did not find it funny at all, because it says, and the Lord plagued Pharaoh because he didn't find it funny. He said, what kind of thing is this? And his house with great plagues because of Sarah, Abraham's wife. And Pharaoh called Abraham and said, What is this that thou hast done unto me? Why didst thou not tell me that she was thy wife? Why says thou she's my sister? So I might have taken her to me to wife. Now therefore behold thy wife, take her and go thy way. And Pharaoh commanded his men concerning him, and they sent him away and his wife and all that he had. Let's go to Genesis 13. And Abram went up out of Egypt, he and his wife and all that he had, and Lot with him into the south. And Abram was very rich in cattle, in silver, and in gold. And he went on his journeys from the south even to Bethel, unto the place where his tent had been at the beginning, between Bethel and Hai, unto the place of the altar, which he had made there at first. And there Abram called on the name of the Lord. Alright, so let's take it back one more bit. And Abram was very rich in cattle, in silver, and in gold. And he went on his journeys from the south, even to Bethel, unto the place where his tent had been at the beginning. So he was returning from Egypt, between Bethel and Hai, unto the place of altar which he had made there at the first. And there Abram called on the name of the Lord. So why did he wait this long to call on God? I mean, like, he had to go to Egypt first. Anyway, let's continue. And Lot also, which went with Abraham, with I keep saying Abram, which went with Abram had flocks and herds and tents, and the land was not able to bear them, that they might dwell together. For their substance was great, so that they could not dwell together. And there was a strife between the headmen of Abram's cattle and the headmen of Lot's cattle. Too much money. Ah, oh shit. And the headmen of Lot's cattle, and the Canaanites and the Perizzites dwelled then in the land. And Abraham said unto Lot, let there be no strife. Like Abraham is such a peacemaker. I don't like stress. Don't stress me. I will not stress you. My kind of person. I pray thee between me and thee, and between my headmen and thy headmen, for we be brethren. We are children of the same family. Let's not fight. Is not the whole land before thee? I mean, the world is at your footstep. Is not the whole land before thee? Separate thyself, I pray thee, from me. If thou wilt take the left hand, then I will go to the right. Or if thou depart to the right hand, then I will go to the left. And Lot lifted up his eyes and beheld all the plain of Jordan, and it was well watered everywhere. Like the guy likes good thing. Before the Lord destroyed Lord. And Lot lifted up his eyes and beheld all the plain of Jordan, that it was well watered everywhere. He liked good stuff. Before the Lord destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah, even as the garden of the Lord, like the land of Egypt, as thou comest unto Zoar. Then Lord chose him all the plain of Jordan, and Lord journeyed east, and they separated themselves the one from another. Abram dwelt in the land of Canaan, and Lot dwelt in the cities of the plain, and pitched his tent towards Sodom. But the men of Sodom were wicked and sinners before the Lord exceedingly. You understand why God will later destroy them. And the Lord said unto Abram, after that Lot was separated from him, lift up now thine eyes and look forward, and look from the place where thou art northward. Okay, let me read this. And the Lord said unto Abram, after that Lot was separated from him, this is verse 14. Lift up now thine eyes and look from the place where thou art, northward and southward, and eastward and westward, for all the land which thou seest, to thee will I give it, and to thy seed forever. And I will make thy seed as the dust of the earth, so that if a man can number the dust of the earth, then shall thy seed also be numbered. Arise, walk through the land in the length of it and in the breadth of it, for I will give it unto thee. Then Abram removed his tent and came and dwelt in the plain of Mamre, which is in Hebron, and built there an altar unto the Lord. We will continue, but let me react for this full time. So, you guys see, God just knows how to make a boost. That's what I've understood. Like, if God just chooses you like this for no reason, like, because there's really nothing that has said what Abraham did for God to just call him to just come with him. Nothing. But the thing is that Abraham went, and as he went, God kept blessing him, kept making promises. See that Abraham look up, look down. There's a prayer I made. I remember one prayer I made with that verse. Like, what your eyes can see, I claim the promises I claim. So we all claim promises from Abraham, like all these promises. But do we see like the journey that God took him? Like, is it not interesting? Like for me, I just feel like Abraham is overflowed, so I'm really rushing to get to Isaac. Like Isaac excites me the most because I feel like that topic has not really been flooded. So I feel like I'm bringing some innovative ideas. But like Abraham, like I commend Abraham, and I'm grateful that Abraham journeyed with God, because that's part of what we are enjoying, all of us that are called children of God. So I'm not done. I mean, I'm just going to keep sharing. So stay tuned, don't get tired. Like, we're going to keep joining until we are done with Abraham, Isaac, Jacob. We're not done. So stay tuned.